Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Jimmy and this is Patriots Glow. Okay, so check it out. In this video today, something that we need to talk about. In today's economy, everything's expensive. We're talking food, clothes, gas. It doesn't matter. Everything has a high ticket price. And as woodworkers, I think a lot of the time we see the same cost inflation, maybe sometimes worse, because at the same period of us being charged larger amounts for different types of lumber, nobody wants to spend that extra money that we may have to pass that cost on. So a lot of the time, as woodworkers, we kind of eat the cost of whatever we're making. A lot of the time you see, especially beginner woodworkers, I'd even say for myself, I still consider myself a beginner woodworker, using construction grade lumber, fence pickets, and don't get me wrong, these can be really, really awesome ways to build different projects and different furniture. You know, I know we've seen a couple of different coffee tables on this channel, and I'll link that video in the description box below. But what if we want different lumber? What if we want something nicer, different plywood to make sleds for our table saws, things like that? That lumber can be expensive. And at times, I think even the construction grade lumber can be expensive too. So in today's video, I'm going to show a couple of different things that I picked up here recently in what we would like to call culled lumber piles at your big box stores like Lowe's, Home Depot. And depending on how long that product has been sitting there, they have different percentages off on this lumber. Now, you know, thinking about it, you always wonder, is it worth it? You know, if they're putting that lumber into those piles, normally there's some type of defect on them. But what I will say is that in the long run, there is a lot of lumber in there that I think would actually definitely be worth it. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of boards here that I picked up from Home Depot over the weekend. And at the end of the day, I don't think that these have a large enough issue that I would have even ever had them in culled lumber. So right here, we have a 2 foot by 4 foot half-inch piece of birch plywood. And when I picked it up, I was checking everything. I couldn't find anything physically really wrong that I could see with it, but it was, I mean, in the most minor way, a slight cupping, I guess you could say it has. But for anything that I'm ever going to do, I will be able to use this, even whether it's making a sled or even using it in a project. Most of the time, and I don't know if 1/4 inch would be used, but you know, birch can be used for a lot of different furniture projects, cabinetry, things like that. So I don't think I will use it for anything like that, but here's where, regardless of what I use it for, it becomes very good, very cost effective. As any woodworker knows, types of wood that you actually use for your projects kind of determines what your charging price for that is going to be. A 2 foot by 4 foot half-inch piece of plywood of birch, it comes out to $36.24. Now, when I was at Home Depot, this had a 75% off, and that brings $25.37 off of this board right here. So for under $10, is that right? No. So for $10.87, I picked up a board that normally runs $36.24. And this isn't just boards like this. While I was there, and I'll go ahead and put a video on there, there were 2x2s that you could end up using. Which I will show you. I did buy one of those 2x2s, and we're going to actually have an upcoming video, or maybe a previous video. I don't know which order this is going to come out, but we're actually going to use it as a test subject on running a mini lathe. And if you're going to do things like that, by all means. This lumber is not perfect, but after you mill it down, sand it down, you can work some of those kinks out. As long as the wood's not that bad, this is definitely a good way to get cheap lumber, and sometimes almost to the point of being free, because if that lumber sits there long enough and they haven't actually chucked it out into the trash, you can go and ask, hey, what are you doing with this? I've seen it's been here for a week. Are you about to throw it out? Because they will. They'll trash it. They'll throw it in the dumpster. So if they can get $1 out of it, they would prefer to get $1 out of it than nothing at all. And sometimes even costs to ship it. So even if you're not looking into doing something as expensive as getting birch, you also have, I believe this is like a sandalwood, sandalwood ply. This same size 2x4x1/2 came out to be $24.78. Take a $17.35 off of that. So we're looking at even cheaper here for this piece of plywood. Also good enough to make a sled out of. Every single one of these boards, there is nothing that I would be able, that I would make, that I would not be able to use these plywoods for. So we're actually going to use these, probably make a couple of jigs, a couple of sleds out of them, maybe make some videos on those. But we do have this lumber that we are going to utilize in the shop. So that is absolutely great. I will say that this is definitely a better way to get any of the material that you need, other than going over to your next door neighbor's fence and ripping their pickets down. Not saying that anybody's ever done it, but no, on a serious note, definitely great way to save some money, and you can do it at Lowe's, Home Depot. There are a lot of places that will, I'm sure Menards, different big box stores that have these Culled lumber piles. Please, if you're trying to get into woodworking, you're like, man, I don't have $1, I don't have 2 dimes to rub together, go in there, get some wood to first start things out. If you've already got a few tools, but you just need some lumber, or man, you know, I was wanting to make some bird feeder boxes for this spring, but you know, they have a special offer where I could offer up a kidney to get some lumber for it, but I didn't want to do that. I was kind of not sure if I wanted to do all that or not. But please check it out. I got a huge discount on here with all of the purchases of the lumber that I bought at the store over the weekend. It would have been right about $100, and I spent $33 to pick up all of this lumber. So it's a really great idea. Highly recommend trying it out, seeing if you have anything. And sometimes it's a hit or miss. I'm not going to be, you know, oh, you'll always find something great in there, but you can definitely find some really good products in there for your really easy projects. So give it a try. Let me know. Leave a comment down in the comment box below if you have any other great ideas on getting lumber for cheap, almost free. And if you do try this out and see if you can find any great lumber, let me know what you found. Let me know if it's working for you like it worked for me. I hope it does, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.